First half highlights in this match between Kingfisher East Bengal and Aizawl FC, and what you will notice is a lack of finishing in the end. Bernard Mendy making his debut today, perhaps looking like the most impressive player on the pitch. The ISL champion in recent times with the Chennai franchise. But there were some bright moments for the visitors as well, and particularly with their wing backs joining in a lot of attack. Number 26, Ricky Lala Mauma, also looking quite impressive. But Bernard Mendy was a constant thorn in the flesh, one should say, for the heading quite strongly. But the disappointment yet again continuing for Do Dong Hyun, sending in a couple of useful deliveries, but not good enough to challenge the defense too much. Soiram Pore also doing well in goal. Rahul Beke picking up a yellow card for one of his tackles, and then another free kick being swerved in. And this was perhaps one of the best chances which fell for Aizawl FC. A good exchange of passes and just needed a little bitter in terms of a finish from Kinowaki, who's worked very well for his team in midfield, but just a feeble attempt in the end. No problems for Luis Pareto, the former Sporting Club de Goa goalkeeper, who's done a good job between the sticks. Alfred also working hard, pulling this ball up, and then from the left flank, Ricky going with that shot. Good contact, but not substantial enough to bother Luis Pareto, but he was not taking any chances. Attempts came in from the left side of the pitch, and this time it was Do Dong Hyun. This was perhaps the best goal-scoring opportunity. Acrobatic effort as well from Bernard Mendy, but had it not been for Poirei coming out of his line, could well have been the first goal of this match. Rahul Beke with a couple of long throws. This another great chance where Arnav Mondal set it in, and Ranty Martins would almost definitely have scored the goal of the season. This time another shot from long range, which wasn't on target either. So some frustration in the end for the visitors. Ranty Martins then had a couple of great chances. This was the first of them. The second was deemed to be offside, but this first one saw him in an onside position. Had a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper, but again, outstanding goalkeeping from Poirei. And late towards that first half, a number of attacks coming in from corners. And for both teams, a little bit of exchanges of attacks. No goals as yet in this match, so it's still 0-0 at the Barashat Stadium between Kingfisher East Bengal and Aizawl FC. But this is what happened in the second half. And an early chance for Alfred, who pulled away from his marker. This was perhaps the only time that Arnav Mondal was left for dead. But Luis Pareto had a good game. This was another great free kick attempted, almost getting the right kind of dip on it. Skipper David shares his first name with another famous David. And this was perhaps the closest that Bernard Mendy had initially come to scoring. And eventually they were rewarded, but this was just another look at that header. Powerful header. And Bernard Mendy has shown today why he could be a major factor in turning around the fortunes of the Red and Golds. This was Vikas Jairu lining it up on his left, turning it back in. Ranty Martins, he'll consider himself unlucky because it came off the inside of the post. But some great work this time from the right flank. Joachim Branches came on as a substitute, curled it in, and it was a low cross, whipped in, and it was so beautifully converted into a goal. Vikas Jairu, acrobatic header, and also finding the mark with a lot of accuracy, pulling away from his marker and doing well to place it right in the corner. And soon after, in fact just 2 minutes later, Kevin Lobo lobbing this ball up, and Bernard Mendy with a powerful header of his own. And Poirei, perhaps the only mistake he made there was not being able to save it at the first attempt. Just tumbling over, which is in football fans, especially those who watch the ISL, are quite familiar with. But it didn't silence Aizawl FC. They kept going at the opposition and kept trying to find that elusive goal, which almost came through as well right towards the end. This was another great chance. Bernard Mendy one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And late in the match, there was another chance for Ranty Martins, but there were still some attempts galore at the other end. And this was Ranty Martins getting through one-on-one, pulling away from Emmanuel. But outstanding, brave goalkeeping yet again from Soiram Poirei.